Yo, what up everybody? This is going to be my X-Men Apocalypse review. And I'm going to keep it short because I know a lot of people still haven't seen the movie, but I did kind of want to just give my thoughts on it. First off, it's definitely a good movie. Don't get me wrong, it's definitely a good movie. There were a lot of really good parts, and then there were a lot of really kind of I could see where they wanted to go. It's just the storyline, it was a lot to take in. It was definitely a lot to take in. And if you haven't been an X-Men fan for a while, you kind of get lost on some parts because some things aren't explained. So you can appreciate this movie if you're an X-Men fan and kind of been following along, maybe not so much in the comics, but maybe like along the lines of like the the animated series back in the 90s, and the first couple X-Men movies. That's a great thing about the X-Men movies, is that really there's a rich history of not only movies but also comics and stuff like that. But the great thing about the movies is they've never really truly rebooted X-Men. There's been a couple spin-offs that just didn't do very well, but overall the majority of the story has always been the same. There's a problem, there's a conflict between the mutants, humans are involved, and the mutants have to solve these problems. So this movie dives really in between the mutants more than the humans in this movie, which would normally be awesome, but to be honest with you, there's not a lot of fighting, and that's kind of the one downside. I know that all the superheroes have been fighting, so maybe I just got adjusted to that thinking that hey, why is it there more fighting going on in here? But I mean, that's kind of the downside to me as far as the movie goes. At the end, it picks up very heavily, and there's a lot of action in there. I don't want to spoil anything, so I'm definitely not going to spoil anything. But there are some really great moments. Quicksilver, again, steals the show. All the best scenes in the movie, to me personally, are with Quicksilver. He does an amazing job. Evan Peters, he does an amazing job as Quicksilver. I mean, he is like literally born to play the role, I would say. For me, he's on par with Hugh Jackman's Wolverine. Definitely in that same realm. And it's crazy to think that these movies have been out for so many years already, and Wolverine is going to be very hard to replace. From the trailer, I'm not spoiling anything, but from the trailer, he's definitely in the movie for a little bit. And his moment when he comes into the movie, it's truly awesome. It's the way that you want to see Wolverine. And if I had my choice, I would want to see like 5 more movies of just that. Just those moments where he's going like in his super berserker mode. And it's amazing. It really is, to be able to see that on screen. I feel like after all these movies, he finally got his justice. But as far as the movie goes, man, the set designs were cool, but also very CG, and not the good CG either, like low budget CG. Like and this is again in the trailer, there's a part where you see some like shipping containers get like flipped around and stuff like that, obviously by Magneto. And I'm like watching this mug, and I'm like, dang, bro, can we at least get some textures on the shipping containers, bro? I mean, I know you colored them up, I know you filled them out, but just a little bit of texture, man, just a little. But we didn't get it, and that's kind of the downside of this movie, man. Is like, I don't know if it was because I watched it in 3D. I didn't feel like they made very good use of 3D, but also every time there's like CG going on, if it's not directly involved with the character or main character, it just looks plasticky, and that's never a good thing. I know that there's a lot of star power in this movie, so I'm sure a lot of it went through the budget, but come on, man, like seriously, it was pretty bad, like as far as some of the CG parts. Not all the CG parts were bad, but like I said, if an actual human being did not touch what was ever CG'd, it looked terrible, man. I'll be honest, I can't defend that portion. But as far as the movie, the storyline, like I said, it was a bit convoluted. There's a lot going on, and there's a lot that's not explained. But if you've been following along, you should be able to pick it up like no problem whatsoever. If you haven't been at least watching the movies, you would probably be a bit confused by some of the things, because you're just like, whoa, what's this about? But I mean, overall, I would say as far as the rating goes, I talked to my cousin. I actually took my cousin to this show, and he gave it a hard 7. And after he said it, it made sense. And he's not even a comic book fan at all. He's not even an action movie fan, really. But he was excited, and he said he got here, and there were moments where he was almost falling asleep. And I don't blame him, because I was looking over and he was kind of dozing, because there's a lot of talking to set up kind of where they want to go as far as the story goes. But I feel like there's too much talking and not enough action to continue the pacing, so it kind of falls off at some points. And I really, it's hard to say that it's a bad movie, because it's definitely not a bad movie. It's just not as good as the last one, Days of Future Past. Oh my god, that movie was amazing. Like, literally one of the best X-Men movies of all time. But again, this movie has some moments. I'm not saying it's total dud. I would say for myself personally, it's probably, I would say maybe a hard 7, maybe an 8. And the only reason I waver towards an 8 is because of that Quicksilver scene. The Quicksilver scenes, in fact, all of his scenes were just super dope. I mean, I could watch whole movie with just that guy, you know? But overall, do I feel like you should watch it in the theater? I would say yes, especially over the long weekend. Definitely watch it. But I would probably shy away from 3D. I don't know that I would recommend 3D, especially because you're having to pay extra money for things that they really didn't take advantage of well. But CGI problems set aside, there are some really good moments with Magneto as a character. He's really awesome. You get to see a story arc, a new story arc that you've never seen from Magneto in previous movies. You get to see Professor X actually be a professor in this movie, as far as being able to teach not only on a academic level, but also as as an actual professor of the X-Men, to be able to help them to wield their powers a little bit more. So that part is awesome. Like I said, the very end fight scene, it is pretty cool, but like I said, I think Civil War and even Batman vs Superman have me a little bit jaded. Even Deadpool, it has me a bit jaded, because I'm used to seeing more action scenes than what I saw in the X-Men movie. Like I said, do I recommend it? Yes, I would say yes. Definitely go watch it. If you are a fan, a die-hard fan of X-Men, then I would say watch it. If you're a casual watcher of movies and you're just like, oh, this is another superhero movie, if you've already spent your money on other superhero movies this month, then I might say probably wait, because it's not one that I feel like, unfortunately, you need to watch in a theater. Unless you have kids, take your kids to go watch it. But again, it does kind of play a little bit slowly. It is kind of dragged out, so be very careful about that. But is it a grand spectacle? It's not, man, and I hate to say that. Days of Future Past, the thing that made that movie so awesome was because the action is continuing on the entire time. It carries the story. And this one, if you're not paying attention, you can miss something, and then you're kind of just off track. So that's the one thing that I would say about this movie. Overall, did I like it? Yeah, hard 7, hard 8. I'd probably give it 7.5. That would be the highest I would go, just because it is a little bit slow. But as far as like their costumes and everything that they wear, is really good. I really liked, I keep going back to Quicksilver, but it's just because he's the dopest character in the movie. He's dressed the coolest, listens to the coolest music, has the coolest powers, and they give him all of those moments that he needed, that we wanted more of in X-Men Days of Future Past. We get them in this movie. So for that, it was definitely, for me personally, worth it to watch it, because that's what I wanted to see. It was Quicksilver in action. He was in action. I was happy. So overall, guys, thank you so much for watching the show. I really do appreciate it. Let me know if you guys have any more comments, or drop some likes if you like the review. If you have something to add to the conversation, hit me up, man.